How are you going to avoid a censure from the EU?
Well, it depends if there is a good faith from the EU, because basically we are doing much better than what it was forecasted, because we are collecting much more taxes due to the reform that we made, notably the electronic invoice. We are spending less on the two big figure of expenses that was budgeted, that was the pension reform and the early retirement. So if ever they wanted to look at the number as they are, they would conclude that the deficit is much lower than it was feared to be, and one of the lowest of Europe. So France, let's say, will end up with 3.5. Instead, we will close at 2% of deficit.
Well, better than it was. Will it be good enough to comply with the guidelines put out by the EU?
Well, it depends how you gauge these headlines, these guidelines, because the potential GDP rule, it's something that has no fundamental meaning whatsoever. In this situation, probably it's better to come back to the old 3% deficit rule, because our estimate and all the independent estimate differ a lot from what EU is saying. So if ever there is a real intention to look at the numbers, we have nothing to be scared of. If ever there is a political stance and the EU wants simply to punish a government that they don't like, well, it's a far another matter.
Well, okay, well, let's get to the economic factors, though, because yes, Italy did exit a recession in the first quarter, but there are some indicators that the second quarter really isn't going to be that great. Industrial production, composite PMI is slipping as well. Our team over here at Bloomberg looks for your economy to expand by just 0.1%. How is that going to be fast enough to grow your way out of a budget deficit and avoid some kind of censure from the EU?
This is a good point. We are slipping into the stagnation that, by the way, is not something that is pretty new, because out of the 20 years that we have been in the common currency, the average growth of Italy has been 0. So we are not talking of something that is unprecedented. We had a sort of double lost decade that, of course, didn't make me happy. But we ran a substantial fiscal consolidation for 20 years. The fiscal discipline for Italy has been remarkable and unparalleled with all the rest of the world. I don't think that there is another country that ran primary surplus like we ran for the last 20 years. So it's true that we should have the way to enhance a little bit and to push a little bit the growth that is the real problem of Italy at the moment. But to push the growth, you need to make investment. And if ever any kind of investment that you make is computed as a deficit, debt, and so you can't due to the European rule, so there is no way out.
So, Mr. Borghi, if in fact you're in substantial compliance with EU guidelines, and in fact you really are very fiscally responsible, why is there a need for the so-called mini bots, these things that, as I understand, are sort of T-bills that are of a different denomination? This seems to be an innovation. Why do you need those at all?
Well, it's an idea in order to stay better within the rules. Let's say, if there is commercial credit from suppliers of the state, and basically that debt is not computed under the Maastricht rules until it is paid. So basically, it's an incentive not to pay the suppliers. That is because if you have an argument with the European Commission with 0.01 of the debt, because we are talking about this. We are not talking about 3%, 5% GDP of shift from the projected situation. We are talking about 0.1. If the thing that is under the spotlight is 0.1, and until you don't pay the supplier, then it's not computed as a debt, then you have a problem. So we have a lot of people that are expecting money from the state that that do have a credit and need to be paid. So this kind of solution, when you print the mini bot, let's say, so because sometimes all this credit is for small sum, if you print a mini bot, is not that straightforward. It's a tax credit, so you have to see them as a transferable tax credit. So until they are redeemed, so it's not computed as that, and also it's got a lot of other advantages. For example, once you have the paper form, then you are able to move quickly because you spend it quickly, like you spend a banknote, like say, and that's why you have a push for the shop that are nearby your home. So it's there is a lot of advantages, in the mini bill, the mini bot idea. But the main idea is simply to move a credit that a citizen do have, and they can't do nothing with it.